How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be performing a power steering service flush. So in this situation, I'm actually changing a pump. This pump did go bad. It is aftermarket, and we are going to be replacing with a new one. But for the purposes of the video, this will apply to the same thing. So as we can see, the fluid here is a relatively dark. So you're going to want to do this every 30,000 miles or so. So when this pump was changed, looks like the fluid was not changed, possibly damaged the pump, but it is aftermarket, so chances are that's really what happened here. So we're going to go ahead and change this fluid out. We're going to do it a couple different times. You're going to want to have the car running for this procedure, and you could either use a power steering service cleaner like this, or you could use Honda fluid to do it a couple different times. And then you're going to want to fill it with your final top off with Honda fluid only. Don't use ATF or anything like that. This is okay to clean it. I would not recommend leaving it in there long term. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. You could either use a turkey baster or a hand pump to extract the fluid, fill it with a funnel kind of like this, which is kind of what I'm going to be using because our machine does extract, although it doesn't put the fluid back in because it is broken. So this is what we've been doing in the meantime, a combination of two different setups. And again, you can use either a turkey baster or a hand pump, a funnel. You could either take out the hose from the pressure side too, but that usually makes a mess. So I don't recommend doing that. Turkey baster probably works the best for most people. And then you could probably either keep the turkey baster for another instance or just discard it after that. Just buy a cheap one off Amazon or something like that. So again, let's go ahead and get started with the video. All right, as we can see, the fluid here doesn't look too dark going through the hose, although in the reservoir it was plenty dark. Also, try not to let the reservoir go completely empty. And if you're changing a pump, you should absolutely be doing this at that service. If not, every 30,000 miles or so is okay. Now you can just let this run a little bit. I like to go inside and turn the steering wheel as well. Really get the fluid going through the entire rack in the system at this point, and get the fluid in there working, doing this thing, and then do it a couple more times. I'll just do one more quick time here, then I'll run it thoroughly afterwards, and you'll see it start sputtering here. Sometimes it is hard to see through the reservoirs since they are opaque to begin with, and then they are already stained from having old fluid in there for so long. This whole process should not take you longer than, let's say, maybe 15-20 minutes or so. And that's going to be the last one for us here. And we could actually see inside the reservoir there's still some fluid left over, so we're going to go and drain that some more. Now there is a strainer in this reservoir. If you'd like to go ahead and change it, now would probably be the right time. If you haven't done this in a while, probably be a good idea. Again, I recommend probably every 30,000 miles or so to change this fluid. And it's hard to get in there with the camera, but we got most of it, and you can see some buildup on the strainer there. So again, probably a good idea to be changing these strainers at this time, especially if you haven't done the fluid on a consistent basis. So now we are going to be topping off with some Honda power steering fluid only, and try not to make a mess here. You can still use your funnel here, and you're going to fill it out about 3/4 of the way or so. We're going to start the vehicle, we're going to run through our system, and then we're going to recheck here and top off as needed at this point. Content there. Your pump may or may not make some noises at this time, which is completely normal. run it back and forth a few times. Like I said, it may be hard to see, but we can see here that we are right in between the lower and upper sections of the fill line. So we're going to top that off just a tad here. And then we did let it run for a couple of minutes already. And I'm pretty content with that there. Now, the longer you wait to do this for the first time, the darker these reservoirs will be. If you're doing this on a pretty consistent basis, chances are you should be able to see right through that reservoir. And especially if you went ahead and purchased a new one, then you're definitely going to go ahead and be able to see that because it will be brand new. At this point, we're going to put our cap back. And I like to take some spray 9 now and clean this general area and get everything looking as nice and neat as possible. Now you're going to want to be extra cautious of, your paint and anything electric like that ABS modulator there. So don't spray directly on it. Just kind of work around it a little bit. Let it sit here for a couple of minutes, and then we could go ahead and clean that off either with a blow gun or some brake clean and a blow gun. Any of that combination will work perfectly fine. And this is what it should look like when all said and done. So there could be some staining, which is absolutely fine. What's important is the fluid inside is new and fresh. So once again, I'm going to recommend this every 30,000 miles or so in most scenarios. Now, obviously, we're phasing out of power steering systems, hydraulic systems in particular. Most of the newer cars are electronics, so this is a old aging system, but there's plenty of cars out there that still use this and can still benefit from consistent power steering services. That being said, hopefully this video was helpful to somebody out there, and I'll catch everyone on the next one.